it
Hmm.
really segues us into how times are so different today versus how they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, just with everything in life in general, but
Hmm.
let's narrow it down to real estate in of itself. It's it is 2025 and things are so completely and totally different, completely innovative to where it
Hmm.
even was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And we, as real estate agents, though, expect everything to be the same.
Hmm.
Like, we sold homes, this is what we did. Why isn't it the same way?
Hmm.
And then throw in market shifts in the mix of the technology change, life change, and everything that happens in the course of life. It's it's complicated. I mean, it
Yes.
really is. And when we're looking at how can we get more business, how can we sell more homes, the average person is just trying to get by in their day-to-day life. And
Hmm.
the complexity that they are dealing with in making a move
Hmm.
is that's a struggle in and of itself. But we, because we live, eat, and breathe it, we expect everything to be the same.
Hmm.
But we don't take time to step back and consider the changes that the buyers and sellers are going through as well,
Yeah.
and how that affects decision making,
Hmm.
especially through market shifts.
Yeah.
There's so many things that happen in a day that people have lost trust in everything with all of the scam. I was at a settlement a couple of days ago, and the wife had said, this is one I never heard of, right?
Hmm.
Her best friend applied for a job, went through the interview, was accepted for the job, did the whole bank account thing, set up everything. They said that she was getting a work computer, blah, blah, blah. It was a scam. There was no
Oh, wow.
there was no job.
Wow.
And they had access to her entire bank account because she set up direct deposit.
That's
But
insane.
yet, we expect people that are buying and selling to, we have a real estate license, just use us.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. I had a conversation with someone about this with their leads, and especially with rentals, and what you is required for documentation. And I'm sure for buyers as well, documentation. And without meeting them, without really getting to know them, she was demanding or firmly requesting, I should say, maybe not demanding is the right word, all this information. I said, you realize you're basically asking this person for every bit of information that would allow you to steal their identity, and they have no idea who you are. And you're wondering why they're reluctant to give it to you. Right? In this day and age, everyone is so cautious about what's going on out there, that we have to build that trust. But even, again, putting it into perspective, a lot of the best scammers out there, they develop that trust with you. You have that trust. You feel confident with who you're working with, and then all of a sudden they pull the rug out from underneath you.
Yeah. And we jump on and do webinars like this and talk about calling leads and converting. But at the end of the day, life is very, very different and it happened very quickly. And in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, it happened very
Mm-hmm.
quickly over the course of the last few years. I remember when I first started calling leads, it was so easy. There
Yeah.
weren't many people playing in that pool, and everyone was looking to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone trusted the fact that you're going to go show me a home and you're going to work in my best interest, to
Mm-hmm.
where it's been completely diluted. And now people don't even know who to trust or who to go to. And I think now more than ever, the market share, you have a lot more diversity of agents doing the onesies, twosies than you do having a lot of agents having exceptional market share.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that have, I know in my area where I am right now, the ones that have exceptional market share are the ones that are on the radio, the ones that are on the TV, the ones that are out there and known.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not playing in that pool of the really well-known name brand,
Yeah.
I trust Apple, right?
Mm-hmm.
I trust my certain grocery stores. I trust certain brands. So why should choosing a real estate agent be any different? And why it's so crucial to ask yourself that question. What benefit does a buyer seller have using my services versus my competition that's out there?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to answer that question, that is your value proposition. That is what sets you apart. If that is your brand, and that is what you have to
Mm-hmm.
just be repetitive of.
And what would you say, in a sense of building that brand that builds that confidence and that familiarity so that people just feel confident reaching out? What are some steps that realtors can take to ensure that? Now, you mentioned like radio ads, things like that, but how would you suggest getting that awareness out there so that their brand is just kind of constantly popping up and so that it builds the trust with the consumer that's seeing it?
Your network, your tribe, your people. And it's unfortunately, it's not a get rich quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you have to have reserves to be able to get into this industry. And really, I see it as two different avenues. If you're getting into this industry and you don't have enough business, connect with the top leaders that are in your community
Mm-hmm.
and piggyback off of them. And that is what's going to get you known, because if they have the leads coming in and they have everything coming in, you can piggyback off of that brand and off of that name as
Mm-hmm.
you're building. So you can A, make money doing real estate to snowball your business to have that repeat referral network.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one avenue. The second avenue is you've got to be completely, fully immersed in trusting where you're going and what you're doing and finding your tribe and your network and your group of people and doing what it is that you love. Well, for me, it's everyone knows that I love wine, but working at a winery, volunteering at a winery, being at a winery, being like a member and connecting and always being there, everyone seeing your face, having conversations about real estate and letting everybody know this is what you do. So if you're in that environment and you're with those people, they're going to always start to learn to know you.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to start to learn to trust you because you're going to be talking real estate. You're going to be talking, but not offensively and
Yeah.
not aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
It's conversation amongst camaraderie because everybody likes wine.
Yeah.
If you have kids, be in mom's clubs. If you're a gym rat, find a gym, find 3 or 4, be members at all of them and just live at the gym. Who's your network, who's your people, and tie yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
And don't expect the results to happen overnight.
No.
And I think that's the biggest piece of, right? It's like here we are talking about Halloween and we're only in August. We have such a microwave mentality that I got my real estate license. Where's everybody at?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way because the average person knows like 12 realtors.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to set you apart? Why would that average person choose you?
Mm-hmm.
What's it going to take? And you really have to have the drive and the passion to be like 110% in, jumping in with both feet head first.
Yep.
Both feet head first. That didn't
Feet
sound
first.
right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
Just jump in the deep end.
Just go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
If you have the finances, and it is too connecting with other networks.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you really start to look at businesses that really take off, it's not sometimes in your personal network, it's who you joint venture with.
Mm-hmm.
You need a lender. You need a termite company, you need a banker, you need whatever it is that you need within the real estate industry,
Yeah.
seek those people out,
Hmm.
create those friendships, create those bonds, and that referral, that give someone a reason to refer you business.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's a big piece,
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable asking for referrals, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's
The more
what
people that know what you do, the more opportunity you're going to create for yourself, really.
yeah. Yeah. And I will never forget, you always have those signposts in life of moments of memories of conversations of quotes that really stand out to you.
Hmm.
And my one coach told me it's your responsibility that sellers know that you are available to put a sign in their yard.
Hmm.
Because if they don't know who you are and they don't know to call you and they don't know to have a listing presentation with you, you're not going to get
Hmm.
called.
Hmm.
So how are you going to be known to be the one that gets called, to be the one that they reach out to? And studying that competition, I cannot tell you how vitally important that is. Look at what your competition is doing and just do it a little bit better. We just can't expect it to
Yeah.
happen overnight.
No, no. It's the instant gratification that we're all looking for a lot of the time, right? Especially with lead generation, that where you're putting the money out, you're expecting that instant gratification from the money spent, but realizing that we are just building pipelines. We're building, and we're going to say we're preventing a roller coaster is what we're doing. We're building those pipelines so we have a steady stream of business rather than one that keeps going up and down, up and down, up and down.
Well, and that's where it's like, what are you doing today? And if you don't have a settlement today or you don't have a client to work with today, I'm going to ask you what you were doing 3 months ago. Because what you're doing today is honestly a product of what you've done in your past, especially in the real estate industry. I can't just go out and sell a house today. I can't just go out and have a settlement today.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a product, you can always go out and just, I'm going to sell my glass and I'm going to go out and find somebody that's going to buy it. You
Yeah,
always
yeah,
have that opportunity, right? Just door knock, door knock. But unfortunately, in the real estate industry, things take a little bit of time.
yeah.
You could do a closing and like a cash closing, you might be able to do within like 7 to 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it takes 30 to 60 to sometimes 90 days
Mm-hmm.
to benefit the reward of what you're doing today. So
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing today to create that future business and create that
Mm-hmm.
future income?
I think
And
too, it's creating those micro goals, right? So rather than looking at, I want to do this, what little steps am I going to be taking along the way? What do I need to do that? It's like reverse engineering the goal. So if I know it takes 15 conversations to get one person that's potentially moving, how many calls do you have to make to get, 5 people? Because out of those 5 people, one of them might be willing to book an appointment with you, right? So it's reverse engineering what you need to do, or setting that goal of, okay, I'm going to have at least one appointment a week, whatever it is, whether it's a listing appointment, a buyer appointment, whatever it is. What are we doing this week to ensure that we're getting that one appointment?
and my best little trick to that is literally building out the calendar. Now, I'm going to take you back in like strategic planning. It's important to know how much money do you need to make to live the lifestyle that you want to live? Okay, I need $100,000 a year. Well, how many commission checks equates $100,000 a year?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I have X amount of settlements. Well, out of X amount of settlements, break them down into 12-month increments.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know how many you have to do every month. So now you've got your settlements, put them on the calendar, even though you don't have them, put the settlements on your calendar. Schedule when you want to have them. Well, if they're all listings, schedule your listing appointments on the calendar before you have them. Same with buyers. If they're buyer closings, put your showing times on your calendar. And that's what really helps the creativity and the manifestation of bringing into reality what you're putting into motion.
Mhm.
Because you're basically telling the universe, this is what's happening in my life. This is what's going on in my life. And that's what really brings about that creativity to
Mhm.
be able to make it happen. Instead of, oh, I had a buyer cancel his buyer appointment, so I'm just going to take the night off and sit in Netflix binge.
Yeah.
Right? It's our calendar is what keeps us on track.
Mhm.
And if we don't take control of our time, someone else is going to.
Yeah.
So the quicker you can learn that lesson, and it's so important to know how many settlements you have to do in your year to create your lifestyle that you want to have and work towards that.
Mhm.
And that's the fun of the business. That's the fun of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's the fun of creativity.
And I think for some of us, I know for myself personally, you can give me something that I'm in full control of, where the only expectation is coming from myself, versus having a job where you're paid and there's an expectation from somebody else on you. How you show up can also be two different things. So for myself, I show up differently if I'm doing something for myself, where I can't, if it's like the drive's there, but it's easier to just kind of be like meh, right? Whereas like when I'm expected to do something, I show up differently. So I think too, for many individuals, it's likely very similar, where it's getting that motivation to keep going and to keep pushing, to not get sidetracked, right? Or having less meh, whatever. I'm just gonna go out for lunch instead. We'll call it networking. We'll write this off because we'll talk real estate for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
right? So we're good at creating excuses for ourselves not to do things. Um, do you have, aside from time blocking, any tips for somebody that has a hard time keeping themselves accountable and not being distracted or creating excuses? Do you have any tips for individuals that may be struggling with that, just to stay disciplined with what they're doing?
Be aware. I mean, that is really what it comes down to because we all have habits.
Mhm.
And even though at some points in our life, things may veer in a different direction and we've got really good work habits going on, but then something can happen that diverts that course of direction and we fall back into bad habits. Everything has a season. The more aware we are of our actions, our feelings, and our thoughts at all times, that is what really makes the difference. Because you can sit back and say, okay, I need to sit down and call my leads today. Well, normally how this goes in a real estate agent's mind is it's 4, 5 to 7 o'clock in the evening, and you're feeling motivated for tomorrow. I am going to get up and I am going to call this many leads and I am going to go door knock and this is what I'm going to do. Well, you wake up in the morning and you're not feeling all the feels. And you literally create a distraction purposely. You create the distraction. You're like, oh God, my mom needed me to go pick up blah, blah, blah. So I got to go pick up da, da, da. So now I have a justifiable excuse to not do what I know I need to do. So we've created that distraction,
Mhm.
that purpose that veered us away from, but we're able to justify it. And then we repeat the cycle. So then the next evening, right? Or that evening, oh, I didn't get to it today. So tomorrow I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
I'm going to sit down and call my leads. I'm going to get my database organized and I'm going to go door knock. You plan out your day. You wake up this morning and you at least open the dashboard, and then you get a text message, and then you have yet another distraction.
Mhm.
When we can be completely aware of what our priorities are to meet the goal. So when you know my lifestyle, for me to pay this mortgage, to have this car, to eat this food, to take my kids here, to take my wife here, to take my significant other, even if you're not married, even if you don't have kids, whatever it may be, keeping that eye on the prize whenever you have that text come through, being aware, is this a priority that needs to be done right this second? Or is it something that I'm using as a distraction to pull me away from something that really matters?
Mhm.
And have that internal conversation with yourself. And you know what? You may go and do that action, but be aware that you're actually doing it,
Mhm.
because that is getting you one step closer to actually being able to say, you know what? That can wait. I'm going to get through the uncomfortable and I'm going to call these freaking leads today. And empowering yourself, because at the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, you're like, I freaking called my leads today. That
Mhm.
wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
And that's how we start to create that new habit, is we have to. So I always say, right? We end up having emotional attachments to certain chores, tasks, to-dos. I have an emotional attachment to playing those stupid app games on my phone. Not gonna lie, I do. And it may keep me in bed longer in the morning than what I need to, because I'm like, that's why I play my games.
Yeah.
Because I just love laying in bed. My cat's laying on top of me and I'm petting my cat. And my justification, it was a really long day yesterday and my cat missed me and I can't possibly get up and disrupt her time with her mommy. So I'm going to sit here and play these games just a little too long so that I can give my cat all the bed cuddles. And then before you know it, I didn't work out this morning.
Mhm.
And then you feel self-defeated. But when you actually work through it and you have that internal conversation, because you're going to have it regardless,
Yeah.
but it's your choice of whether you do it or not. And the more you are aware of not doing it or doing it, the closer you actually are to changing that habit. But it's just having that awareness to be able to say, oh, yeah, I'm totally using that as a justified distraction because I really don't want to call my leads.
Mhm.
And it's really insane how we self-sabotage our own success without even consciously knowing it sometimes.
Yeah. It's like
But
going to the
all of
gym.
that being said is huge.
Yeah. It's I think we could probably all agree on the day before how we get ourselves all psyched up for something, and then the day comes and we're just like, it's not as exciting as it seemed in my brain yesterday. Again, we create excuses, or we lay in bed too long, or do something too long. I know my motivation in the morning, I don't watch TV really in the morning anymore, but when I did, I could watch one show. Anything past one show, because you watch a series, I'm like, my whole motivation for the day is just
Yeah.
completely out the window. There's nothing is going to happen. So I learned that. I learned that I can only have one show in the morning, and I was good to go. But it's. I think it just actually doing it. For me personally, it's like persevering through that. I don't want to, and knowing that once you're actually in it, doing it, it's not that bad, right? It's you actually get involved and focus on what you're doing. It's getting yourself to actually do it rather than just constantly thinking about doing it.
Well, and there's, again, going back to that emotional connection, there is a different emotional experience that happens when you're thinking about calling your leads and actually calling your leads. Because when you think about calling your leads, For those of you that have watched my videos and watched me dial, when you're thinking about calling leads, you're like, I'm gonna freaking rock it out like Bev did on that call. And my very first call is gonna be the one that picks up and I'm gonna make that conversion. And you really create this persona within yourself when you're thinking about doing the task. But when it comes time to do the task, you don't feel like that person that you were thinking about when you were actually thinking about doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Did that make sense, Crystal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I can relate to that on other different levels when you're out with friends and having fun and you're like, you know what we should totally go do? And then you're all for it. And then the next day you're like, there's no chance I'm actually going to do that. Like, you
Especially when
know,
alcohol's
but
involved, right? You're like, what was I
yesterday
thinking?
seemed like such a great idea. Such a great idea, right? So yes, it's a very, very much an emotional and your mood at the time you're thinking of these things as well plays a huge role.
100%. And that's where being aware of it, right? Because we really do sometimes need to step into that costume. We need
Mm-hmm.
to step into that actor or actress role and really act as if.
Mm-hmm.
What does the person that is rock star calling leads, what do they do? What do they say? How do they act? What do they do that like
Mm-hmm.
really create that character and lean into being that person?
Mm-hmm.
Lean into feeling, eating, breathing, and being that person versus feeling self-defeated.
Yeah.
And trust me, it's a dance. It is a dance. And I'm going to go back to being aware again. Okay, so you're like, yes, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to call these leads and I'm going to rock it out. And it's going to be amazing. And I ate all the right things. I drank all the right drinks. I did all the right things. I'm doing this. My database is ready and I'm going to rock it out. But then you sit down and you feel completely self-defeated. You're like, I don't feel like I should.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to trick the brain, right?
Yeah.
So that's that awareness piece of I don't feel like that, but why don't I?
Mm-hmm.
And all it is your own nervous system's memory of the way that it's always used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to change it. It's okay to be confident. It's okay to have fun with it. It's okay to get hung up on. All of it is okay. All of the
Mm-hmm.
negativity is okay. And if you don't do it, don't freaking beat yourself up over it. Just go, oh my gosh, I'm completely aware of what just happened and why I didn't do it. Or I'm
Mm-hmm.
completely aware of why this happened. And then the next day will be a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not do it the next day. But the more you don't do it, and the more aware you become, the more it's going to give you that confidence to step into that role.
Yeah.
And then once you step into
Absolutely.
that role and once you start doing it, you're like, what? Why wasn't I doing this before?
I think too having, a game plan. Um, for me, I'd say I like routine, right? So,
You
but I
like
can
what?
routine,
Oh, okay.
like routine. So structure is what I'm doing to an extent. Like I'll still like go outside of it, but if I have something where I'm, disciplined, it's almost like hyper focused on, okay, I got to do this this day, right? And it just becomes like waking up, like you said, you wake up, you brush your teeth. You don't even think about it. You wake up, you sit at your computer, you start doing whatever. You don't even think about it because built this where if I just do this, that's one less thing off my plate today. It's done. I don't have to think about it, taken care of. And then you move on to the next thing, but being aware of like every week, I want to post at least two posts on social media, right? Whether you schedule them both on Monday so that they go out periodically,
Mhm.
or you spend the time instead of just scrolling, looking and commenting on everyone else's post, you actually create your own during that time, right? So sometimes it's changing our habits a little bit and having that discipline. I do well with lists as well. There's something about being able to check something off a list that's like has that instant gratification, regardless of how small the task might be. right? It could be like unload the dishwasher, check, right?
Yeah.
But there's something about it that you feel accomplished in that task, no matter how, big or small that task is, right?
Well, and that's Brian Tracy's book, Eat That Frog.
Yeah.
Because when we always put off the hardest task for last,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something so empowering about the dopamine
Mm-hmm.
that we get that rush when we do the hardest thing first and check it off the list. It actually gives us the energy
Mm-hmm.
to do more
Yeah.
because you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, it's not like you're not wasting time thinking about what you know you don't want to do, but you
Yeah.
have to do. So if
You
you
just,
get it out of the way and you
yeah.
just do it, there's something very empowering about that.
And I think that kind of relates into, well, I'm sure everyone, I imagine at some point can relate, is you start cleaning your house or you start doing yard work, right? You had one thing to do. I was just going to vacuum, but then you notice this over here. And before you know it, you're been cleaning your house for 4 hours, but you feel amazing after because you actually did everything that you kept pushing aside. The same with like yard
Accomplished.
work. Yeah,
You feel
you're same with yard work, right? You were just going to go do this, but then while you did this and you start getting in this, you don't realize how much time you're spending out there, but you feel accomplished, and you're just kind of like at the end of it all, you can actually sit down and feel like you've achieved and accomplished so much more than you
And
actually put
what
out.
brings you to that moment of actual doing is your own personal self-care, though, too. The more your tank is full of just positivity and doing for yourself, the more energy you have to get those things done. So taking care of yourself and setting yourself up for success allows you to do the things, to do the hard things
Mm-hmm.
because you have self-fulfilled your needs and your wants
Mm-hmm.
to be able to then give out to
Yeah,
something else.
absolutely. Absolutely. It'd be interesting to see anyone that is on here. How are you guys finding your self-discipline when it comes to your leads or your business in general? Do you feel like you have a good grasp on it? You're pretty consistent for the most part. You're always busy, either working in or on your business, or do you feel like you're, slow markets, different markets? It's common thing right now is the market's slow, but yes, the houses are still going up for sale. It's finding buyers, right? It's easy to create those excuses. They're valid to an extent, right? But there are realtors that are extremely busy, and there's realtors that are, dying for business, right? And what's the difference between the two of them as to why they're so, I guess, so different, complete opposite. So if anyone on here has any of their own tips and tricks that would potentially what they do to keep their business going, to stay consistent, stay motivated, even in times where a lot of people are losing motivation based on what's happening out there.
And it's such a mindset thing too. It's to your point, all my leads are bed phone numbers. Nothing is selling in my market.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's buying.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's waiting for the market to change. Everybody's waiting for interest rates to change.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hear every in any sentence, that's like oh, is it really truly everything, everybody, everyone?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just our way of coping and justifying.
I think yeah, we tend to hyper focus on negative things or not attractive aspects versus those like small wins, because it seems like the negative aspects, so to speak, are so detrimental to everything, and it's just killing our business. And rather than being like, oh, I've got Kathy here, she's going to move, but it's going to be probably in late fall or maybe early spring. Rather than focusing on that and being like, that's a positive. Now I just have to stay in touch with Kathy, and I'm going to potentially have myself an opportunity here we're going to be like, oh, none of these leads are moving right now. Right. So looking at that rather than focusing on the positive side of that conversation, we kind of, it's almost like, again, that mind shift of like, okay, we're going to sit here and focus on, the not so great aspect of the fact that she's not moving right now.
Gabe, are you able to come on? Are you in a position where you can talk to us? I love your question. This is one of my favorite questions.
I'll give him the ability to talk. He would just have to unmute himself if he would like to speak.
There it is. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I wasn't sure. There we go. I wasn't sure how to unmute on this system.
Yeah, I have to give you.
I couldn't see.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
We got you.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
Gabe, I have a
So
question.
you like my question? You like my
I
question?
love your question.
Good. Okay, that's even better.
When
Excellent.
so do you own a home or do you rent?
I own.
And when did you buy?
30 years ago. I'm old. I'm getting old. I bought 30 years ago.
Okay. Do you have any
Or
plans?
yeah,
Do you have any plans on making a move?
do I have plans? Sure. Oh yeah, probably in the next couple of years, maybe sooner.
Okay.
Myself for sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, my wife and I, we want to downsize maybe, but
And so that's the reason for your move is the downsizing.
well, eventually, I mean, we're getting to an age where we really don't need the house. The kids are probably going to be out of the house in the next year or two. So yeah, we don't need it. I don't want it. I'd like to travel a bit more. Maybe live in a smaller area because I tend to spend a lot of time taking care of the house. So yeah, I mean, eventually for sure. I don't want to.
That's your fence. How can I get you off that fence? I can't you're not ready.
I'm not. But my buyers, I got buyers coming to see open houses. I got buyers calling, let's go see this and that, and then they're
That's
sitting
it.
wait, and then
Because they're interested in what's happening with the market. They want to know what's going on. But what's their fence?
Well, I could tell
that,
that, but I could tell them over the phone. I can have conversations with them about the economy. I'm not an economic expert or anything, but I mean, I do follow what's going on and I understand it. But why are you looking at houses? Why are you dragging me around everywhere? We're looking at things and then you ghost, and then they're ghosting you. I just don't get that. Then they ghost you and you say like, are you interested? You're not interested? Or, do you have any questions? And they just ghost you. You text them, you call them, you leave messages and they ghost you. And it's like, I don't understand that. That's the part. If they're at the point where they're actually going out and looking at homes, I think they're trying to get off the fence. I'm not looking at a home. I'm considering making a move myself, probably in the next couple of years, but I'm not at the point where I'm going to go start looking at
my
home.
experience with buyers, and this is just my experience. Buyers go through this emotional roller coaster of wanting to move. I'm just going to stay put, especially in a hard market, right? Whether they're getting outbid or whether they're not finding things that meet their expectations. So they go through this emotional roller coaster. And that was just my closing last week. This dude was all over the freaking map. We looked at homes that needed completely renovated. We looked at homes that were too far from his work. He was talking about quitting his job and moving out of state. I mean, he was all over the map because it's this emotional roller coaster. So he couldn't find what met his expectations. And they don't know how to have those hard conversations with you as the agent. And I'm not saying you, Gabe, specifically. I'm saying any agent, because nobody likes that confrontation. Nobody's going to call you and go, oh, you know what? I'm scared. I'm really scared about buying a house. And these homes aren't meeting my expectation. They don't know how to have those conversations. And that is where our expertise can come into play and have those hard conversations before it actually happens and explain to them, say, you know what, this is a really hard market. And the more we know about their plan B, the more prepared we can be for the ghost. So I'm just going to use my buyer as an example. They were living at home with her mother. They have 3 kids. And his excuse was, whenever he was like, I'm just done looking because I can't find anything that meets my expectations, we're just going to stay home and save more money. And my response, you can't outsave the market. So as you're saving, prices are going up and everything's always going to be relative. You're going to need to get this job and make more money, right? Put you in a different price bracket. They didn't have a plan B because they didn't have to be out of mom's house. So their urgency when things were happening with mom and they got into a fight with mom, I got to get out of here, then quickly faded when they couldn't find anything because then it cleared things up with mom and it wasn't so bad. And then we can, we can stay. It's like an abusive relationship, right? So it's no one's fault that they've ghosted. We need to have a better understanding of their plan B. And if they don't have a plan B, they're less likely to ghost you because they have to make something happen. But the majority of people have a plan B. Oh, I'm renting. My lease is going to be up. I have to move by October 1st. Well, here we are in August. I'm just going to sign another year lease. That's their plan B. I'm living at home with mom. Plan B. I don't have to move. I want to save more money because I want more money as a down payment whenever I do go to buy. That's their plan B. So if we can learn, if you don't find a home by said date, what's your plan B? What do you plan on doing? Then you can understand them and why they ghost. Because then you can always call them on it. And I always say, Gabe, the only reason we freaking spend money on gifts for Christmas is because December 25th, it's Christmas Day. If December 25th was not Christmas Day, we would prolong and we would prolong and we would prolong and we would not buy the damn gifts. And it would be like, we're getting all the sales after Christmas, right? But there's no said time that people have to buy a house or have to have a home unless there is no plan B. I have a relocation and I have to report to my job and I have to be here. My significant other died and I can't afford the mortgage. I don't have a plan B. So I look at fences and ghosting as they just have a plan B. Is that helpful at all?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And I think what it comes down to too is just qualifying better, right? What I find very, very challenging is qualifying, having people come into the office, have a real conversation before you get out and show properties. And I'm finding that's tougher and tougher and tougher.
Which that's what we were talking about in the early game, right? It's people just they just want to go look at houses. But if you really get in their head and help them to understand, and this is one of my favorite lines, and it works every single time, I promise you. When you're sick and you're not feeling right, and you've got this pain that just will not go away. You've tried taking aspirin, you've tried, self-medicating, and nothing is working. Do you go right to the pharmacy and say, prescribe me this drug because this is what I need? No, you go to the doctor for them to do a complete overall exam to be able to identify what kind of tests need to be done and what exactly is going on here. So I know either A, what kind of doctor I do need if I need a specialist, or B, what kind of prescription I do need to get rid of the pain that I have. What is the placebo? But going straight to the pharmacist, they can't, you're just going to prolong the inevitable. So as a realtor, our job is really to be that doctor to analyze every possible situation so that you can do your job. And you know what? Some doctors are like, you know what? I'm not the doctor for you. You're going to need to go to so-and-so because that's not my specialty. And that's where if we have a buyer that is completely off the spectrum on expectations, the beer budget, but champagne taste, I'm not the expert for you. There's 100 agents that'll stand in line that will show you home after home after home of homes that aren't going to meet your expectation, and you're going to waste a lot of time. But I'm sorry, this is the market. And unless you're going to move out of state, unless you're going to move further away, it's not going to happen. So something has to change for something to change. So it's not that it's getting harder, Gabe, it's that they don't understand. And it's up to us to help them to understand how you set yourself apart to be that true professional. Because the more you know about them, the better that you can help them. And if you think about when you're online and you're looking at homes for them, the more you know about their dogs having to have a fenced in yard and their classic car having to have a garage and their man that has to have the man cave with a bathroom in the basement and the wife that has to have this certain convectional oven or this hood range or this particular window in the living room, when you know, you know. And they're like, bam, I can play matchmaker. But you can't play matchmaker if you don't do that consultation. If you don't have all the information. And it's like, especially in the medical industry today, right? You'll go from test to test to test. Let's do another test. Let's do another test. Well, let's do another test because no one wants to take responsibility for misdiagnosing. So they overtest, 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 overtest. And the public, the general public's used to that. But we as real estate agents aren't used to that.
Yeah, no, it's a good point for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's not really overqualifying them. It's just getting all the information that you need to make your job easier. Because, you know, if a patient came into a doctor and didn't talk about their symptoms or didn't talk about the pain or didn't talk about anything, they're just playing a guessing game and they can't do their job well. But the more the person divulges to the doctor, the easier it makes the doctor to do his job. And that's the same way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, no, you're absolutely right about it, for sure. I just find it, I think maybe I just don't have the patience sometimes, right? Or I run out of patience in having those conversations. And I think we all do. And I think this is the biggest challenge, because honestly, I mean, you're comparing us to doctors. And you know what, as much as we need to know, I don't think the public sees us as professionals
100%.
all the time, and it's getting to that. Like a doctor, you're automatically going to book an appointment, you're going to go and you're going to wait there for a bit. I mean, we're from Canada here. We have long wait times in doctors' offices and hospitals. I don't know how it is in the US, but you expect it, but you're still going to go because that's the course of action because the doctor knows best. But here, in real estate, it seems like they all know more than we do. I had one client recently. I had a listing expire, and I had it for quite some time. I had it for 6 months, but in that time, I brought them two really good offers they should have taken, and later regretted not taking.
Yep.
But they figured they knew, and it doesn't matter what I told them. I've been doing this for 14 years, and that doesn't mean I know everything. I don't. We're always learning, but I think I knew enough, and I told them enough about taking that offer, explaining what the situation was in the market. The offers were good. In fact, the property's probably worth $100,000 less today, and it's probably only 12 weeks later. So, and they regretted it. They asked me to try to bring that offer back to the table, which I tried, but the buyer was not interested anymore. So that could happen. But they insist they know better than us, and this is a huge problem in the industry. To most out there, I feel we're not the doctor. We're not even close to being the doctor.
I totally agree.
It's a false sense of information. Like the internet tends to teach us everything, but it doesn't.
Well, and I love the scenario game. I love being able to take my clients on a journey of the what if, right? Give the different scenarios and allow them to feel what it feels like within each scenario. So if you go back to that story of, that bad decision making and then they regretted it at the end, I want them to feel that before it actually happens. So we have to walk them down that path and help them to understand this is why we're having this conversation of how we're having this conversation. And that's how I get my clients to outbid usually and write really good offers, because I'm asking them, if I call you and tell you that the seller took another offer, what does that feel like? I can't tell them how much over to go. I can't tell them, but if I call you and say they took another offer, what is going to help you to say or make you say, I did my best. I did my best, because I don't ever want my client second guessing after the fact. And the same goes for sellers too. If you don't take this offer and we're on the market yet another month, what's it feel like to continue paying that mortgage? What's it feel like to not be with your kids because they're moving closer to their grandparents? What does it feel like when your hot water tank goes out and you have to put a repair in your home before you sell? Right? Go through all the what if scenarios and really genuinely allow them to feel what would happen before it actually happens. And that's the uniqueness that we can bring to the table as advisors and as professionals, so that they don't come back and have regrets because they already felt it. And then you're like, told you so. Told you so. You already felt it and still did it anyway. Not my fault. So yeah, really start becoming like that great storyteller and just really get creative. And because you know what could happen. And it's like your damn kids, right? You can tell your kids not to do something, but they're going to go do it anyway. But then Susie Joe comes by and says, don't do that. They don't do that. So our clients are no different. Our kids think they know it all. So just treat your clients like your kids.
Yeah, that's
You're
good way.
grounded.
That's you know what, that's a good perspective, actually. That's a good way to put it. So true. So true. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just think, the internet, like I was saying, the internet kind of gives them a false sense of information, I suppose. And lately too, what is that website? Oh, how can I forget? The website now everybody's using here.
Yeah, GPT.
Yeah, well, no, there's what's it called? It shows all the data, but it actually gives the public. If you type, I guess if you type in I haven't tried it. If you type in your address, I guess it gives you fair market value of your property.
Oh, like a home evaluation. Yeah.
A home evaluation program. So this is what it does, right? And people call and say, no, but this website's telling me that my house is worth this much. But does that website know? And my first question is, so somebody visited your house? They went through it? Well, no, not exactly. So how can they know what your house is worth? Right? How can they know what your house is worth? What condition is your house in? How old's your kitchen, bathrooms? Like, what's been redone? Mechanicals, right? Come on, like, are the windows redone in comparison to, there's just so much more to it. How can you use that? So, I think it's
they just don't know, and I like to
right.
spin on that, right? What did you think of the number that you saw? And they're going to start telling you their story. Well, I didn't like that number because I did this and I did this and I did this, and say, well, I would love to get this number even higher. Why don't I get to see it? Right?
Right.
Because when they go on for home evaluation, we know it's just an average idea of what's happened in the market. And it's really like it's a misnomer number, because we don't know if they're cat hoarders or if they work for HGTV and they're Martha Stewart. Like, we have no idea. So asking them, what did you feel about the number that you saw of the value of your home? Because that's gold to them. They think that is the number. So it's up to us to get creative in having that conversation and educating them without telling them. because they have to think it's their idea. So if we have that conversation, ask the questions, right? Ask the questions. What did you think of the number that you saw? Well, I thought it was really low. Well, why did you think it was low? What have you done to your home? And then find their fence. Find what it's going to take, just like I asked you, do you plan on making a move in the future? What's going to be a couple of years? Oh, well, what will be the reason for the move? Because honestly, that number may not even matter right now. So we could be like exhausting a lot of time trying to get a number to them and go for the listing appointment when it may not even make a hill of a beans of difference anyway.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely.
But man, we love to be right and we love to tell our stuff. I know I've been there. That's how I learned.
Yeah.
I wasted a lot of breath on long conversations that never mattered.
Yeah. Oh, I think we all have. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, right? That's part of it. That's part of it.
Yes, yes, yes. Gabe, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
Of course. All right, Sackett here. My biggest struggle is staying disciplined once a lead becomes active. Oh, hell yeah. My focus shifts entirely to them with multiple lead types, pre-sale, resale, Working with couples, the energy spent on research, showings, and contracts often consumes weeks. If the deal falls through, I lose momentum with the leads and have to restart from scratch. Yeah, that really comes down to, I'm going to say, find their fence, right? The more we know about them, the better we can do our job and just get really right to the chase. Because if we know they don't have a plan B, it changes the game and it makes your job so much easier. Just to know as much as you can about their scenario and their situation and their end game, and just back to the conversation that we just had with Gabe, so what's it going to feel like if it's Christmas and you were planning on decorating your home for Christmas? What's it going to feel like if you're not in your new home by Christmas? Make sure that they have some kind of emotional attachment to the conversations that you're having, because that is what can change the game in the regards of, oh my God, I have to be in a home by Christmas. Well, guess what? Something's got to change, because if you keep doing what we're doing, you ain't going to be no home by Christmas. So we've got to get them to have that emotional attachment, but we don't know what we don't know if we're not asking the right questions. So we really do have to be an investigator.
I think too, it's, we get hyper focused again, kind of going back on the ones that are active, and now we're helping them because we get excited as well. Yeah. But it's trying to, at the same time, not forget about everyone else in our system.
And it's
right?
hard.
Because like, as you said, something happens and now you got to start from square one, right? Whereas if we're always having good conversations, and it really depends, again, figuring out if they have a plan B, as Beverly is saying, with the one that you're super excited about, how much time should we actually be spending on these individuals before we actually know the answer?
Because it burns you out. I mean, it literally, this industry will exhaust your every being. I think everybody in the world should practice real estate, at least like 2 clients.
Yeah. 2 clients. So yeah, real estate for 2 clients, and at least work in the service industry for a month.
Yes. Go serve tables.
Yeah, go serve tables for 1 month and you see what happens, right? Different perspectives.
But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, Crystal. It's like, we really do have to ask the right questions and know exactly what we're working with. And I mean, I talk my buyers out of seeing homes all the time. I don't just jump in a car and go show them. I ask those questions, and I'm like, they're like, I want to go see this one property. I'm like, give me a chance. Let me pull it and see what's going on. And then it'll be like, investor special, and I'll do my homework and I'll call them back and I'll be like, here you are. What's it going to feel like putting an offer on a home, exhausting all of your money, and then being house poor because you've got to put this into it to get this to happen? Oh yeah, no, that don't sound, well, then we're not going to go see the house. So yeah, do your homework. And I mean, honestly, my buyers, I've been working with them since March, and I physically showed them 3 homes, but we talked probably about 20. I just refused to show them the other ones because they just were not a fit, because I knew my client. And I did. I went through that roller coaster with him. He's like, I'm interviewing for a job that's out that's it, well, so I'm in Virginia, right? He was South Virginia, like 3 hours. I'm like, yeah, I can't help you there. But I'm like, let me know, keep me posted. I think that'd be phenomenal for your family. It's a great job opportunity. Just whatever is best for your family, right? It's what does it feel like? What does it feel like to say, I'm moving to this area away from family? You have 3 kids. Are you gonna have a babysitter?
Mhm.
You're gonna be away from home. You may be making more money. You may have a house. But what's your quality of life going to be like away from all of your family? Go through those scenarios. That's kind of what I was talking about with Gabe, is
Mhm.
go through those scenarios. And it's up to us to think about the worst case, excuse me, the worst case scenario and bring that up. So what's the best way to
Persuade
dissuade
them.
them just seeing homes and more homes? Well, it's not really dissuading them. It's just the more we know, right? Like when the doctor knows and he knows that it's your gallbladder, you're getting your gallbladder out. He's not sending you to a heart doctor. So the more that we know about their wants and their needs and what they're not willing to sacrifice, whenever they bring this home to you because they've exhausted every home in the market and they can't find what's meeting their needs and they're like grasping at straws.
I think you get the ones too. My girlfriend dealt with it where they just want to see everything. They're like, let's go look at this one. Let's go look at this one. Let's not ready to put an offer in yet, but their houses are their house is listed for sale. It's obviously not moving. They're looking at homes, right? It gets to the point where they just want to go see everything and things that don't even start to make sense based on what
Yeah.
they've originally told you, right? Or they're going above what their limit was.
Yeah.
Or they're hyper extending their budget and like, do they realize they're going to be house poor now? Like that's
So
like,
it's
why are
two
they
things.
looking at these? Yeah.
Keenan, it's 2 things. One, you're either going to choose to work with somebody that's not going to listen to you, or two, you have that conversation with them and say, you know what? I do not want to sell a steak to a vegetarian. We can deal with a hot dog right now. That's your budget. If we set expectations and we go see homes and we just go see everything, I'm giving you the damn steak. So we've set an expectation that's never going to meet your hot dog. And that's what happens. The more homes they see, the more expectation they have, and it just over confuses everything. And they need to know that out of the gate. There's not a ton of homes in a market in my market, but there's a ton of homes on the market, or there may be a ton of homes that you want to see. But I'm going to set the course right now and just tell you, in my experience with buyers, the more homes that they see, the more difficult it becomes to make those decisions, because literally they get addicted to the home looking and home searching process. And then it's like you get them under contract and they're still freaking looking. They just had the home inspection. You just cleared the home inspection. Oh, but his new home came on the market. Let's go see it. No, 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 no.
Get addicted to the process of previewing homes just in general.
Yeah, yeah. So use the hot dog. I said the vegetation, but use the hot dog and steak analogy, right? I do not want to sell a steak to the hot dog, because it really, and we know it, right? We know what happens whenever they go see a home that's above their budget. Nothing will ever meet their expectations then.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh, I love these calls. I love, love,
Yeah.
love. Thank you all so, so much
Yeah.
for spending time with us and taking time out of your day. Go call your leads.
Absolutely.
Get on the list. We want to get in
Yeah.
your dashboards.
Yeah.
I love getting in dashboards. I love talking too, but
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we do have our backup list. Some people, but if anyone wants to join our backup list, because like today, people back out last minute. We figure these things out. So, yeah, if anyone does want to just reach out to me, I'm sure most of you know how to do that. And thanks, Beverly. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
And
you. See y'all
it'll be
next
next month.
month.
All right. Bye.